He looked at his pile of meat, more than he and his family could ever eat. Abundance in one place often means scarcity in another. Nearby, another tribe had fruits he didn't have, but he had nothing to offer. Yet, need has always been the first spark of human connection. He walked forward, holding out his meat, unsure of what would happen next. Trust between strangers had to start somewhere. And this was it. They studied each other's goods carefully, weighing value without words. Long before money existed, humans understood worth through instinct. With a nod, they exchanged meat for fruit, fair and simple. This wasn't just an exchange. It was the birth of an idea. He walked home with something new, proud of what he'd gained. Cooperation had given him more than survival alone ever could. He shared the fruits with his family who had never tasted them before. One small exchange had just expanded his entire world. Later, sitting quietly, he realized something powerful had just happened. A simple trade had solved a problem neither side could solve alone. His mind lit up with possibility. What else could be exchanged? Curiosity, once sparked, rarely stays still for long. He looked out at distant camps, seeing not strangers but opportunities. And just like that, trade between humans had quietly begun. Encouraged, he tried trading tools next. Surely everyone needed a good axe. Success once often leads humans to seek it again. But this time, the other tribe refused. They had axes of their own. Not every exchange works. Value isn't the same for everyone. He sat back, confused. What made one trade work and another fail? Understanding value was the next problem humans had to solve. By the river, he noticed smooth stones, rare, shiny, all the same size. Sometimes the answer lies in things others can't easily find themselves. He offered the stones alongside his axe, testing a new approach. Innovation often comes from mixing old ideas with new ones. This time, the tribe members' eyes lit up. These stones were valuable. He had stumbled onto something bigger than a simple trade. He walked away with new tools, proud of solving the puzzle. Problem solving has always been humanity's quiet superpower. He began collecting more stones, sensing their growing importance. Without knowing it, he was creating the first form of currency. Back home, he shared his discovery, eyes wide with excitement. Great ideas only grow when shared with others. Soon, his whole tribe carried these stones, ready to trade with anyone. A single idea had quietly transformed how his people connected. Word spread fast. Soon, many tribes gathered to trade goods of all kinds. One idea had quietly sparked a growing tradition. But not every trade felt fair. Some argued over what was equal. Where there's exchange, disagreement eventually follows. He stepped in calmly, helping settle the dispute peacefully. Trade needed more than goods. It needed trust and fairness. He suggested using stones as a fair way to measure value. A simple idea was becoming a shared system everyone understood. The two sides agreed, using stones to balance their exchange. Fairness, once established, made trading easier for everyone. He walks through the crowd, now recognized and respected. Solving problems had quietly earned him standing among his people. He sat with elders, discussing how trading should grow further. Big ideas always need guidance to truly take root. Together, they marked a spot, a place meant only for trading. This was the seed of something humans would build on for ages. More people arrived, drawn to this new gathering place. A simple idea had created a space where strangers became partners. He looked at what had grown from one small exchange of meat and fruit. Sometimes, history's biggest changes begin with the smallest moments. As more tribes came, he found himself naturally guiding the process. Leadership often grows quietly from simply helping others succeed. One day, travelers arrived from far beyond the mountains. The more people traded, the wider the world became. They carried tools unlike anything he'd seen before. Trade wasn't just exchanging goods, it was exchanging knowledge. He watched closely, learning a skill passed from a stranger's hands. Every new connection brought a new way of thinking. He realized trading gave more than food or tools, it gave ideas. This exchange was shaping minds, not just hands. He taught his own people what he had learned from the travelers. Knowledge, once shared, multiplies far beyond its origin. Over time, the marketplace grew larger than he ever imagined. What started as one trade had become a gathering of nations. That evening, he shared stories of the marketplace with his family. Even ancient humans understood the joy of a story well told. His child played with a toy made from materials traded far away. The benefits of trade reached even the smallest hands. As dusk fell, he looked toward the glowing marketplace in the distance. He had helped build something that would outlast him. Years passed, and the marketplace became a permanent part of life. What began as one small need had become a lasting tradition. He began teaching the younger ones the value of fair trade. Wisdom, once earned, finds its purpose in being passed on. He watched proudly as a young trader completed their very first exchange. Every generation builds upon what came before it. Tribes that once were strangers now stood side by side as neighbors. Trade had quietly woven separate peoples into one community. From the hilltop, he saw just how far this idea had spread. One small trade had grown into an entire way of life. He held the very first stone he ever used, remembering where it all began. Even the greatest changes often start with the smallest object. His family now lived surrounded by abundance, built from connection, not luck. Cooperation had given them more than survival ever could alone. He handed his pouch of stones to a new generation, ready to carry it forward. Every legacy needs someone willing to receive it. As the sun set, he reflected on the journey from one simple exchange. Sometimes the biggest stories begin with the smallest moments of need. And so began trade among humans, built not on greed but on connection, fairness, and trust. Perhaps the greatest survival skill was never strength but cooperation.